Imagine waking up one morning, turning on the news, and seeing something so extraordinary, so unexplainable, that it shakes you to your core. But what if I told you, it already happened? What if I told you that a divine sign, something of biblical proportions, was placed right before our eyes, and almost nobody paid attention? Think about this. Throughout history, every major biblical event has been preceded by a warning. A sign from above. The people in Noah's time saw the storm clouds gathering, but they ignored them. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah felt the tremors of impending doom, but they dismissed them. Pharaoh's Egypt experienced plague after plague, but they refused to believe. And now, here we are. In our modern world, with all our technology, all our knowledge, yet we may be making the exact same mistake. Just last year, a celestial event took place. A moment in time that many brushed off as nothing more than a coincidence. But those who truly understand biblical prophecy know that there are no coincidences when it comes to God's plan. And now, another event is coming. A second solar eclipse is set to take place in March of the year 2025. This is not just an ordinary eclipse. It aligns with biblical timelines in ways that are impossible to ignore. The question is, will you see it for what it truly is? Or will you be like the people of Noah's time, laughing, doubting, and carrying on with life as usual, until it's too late? Because here's the truth, the signs are already here. They are in the sky. They are in the world around us. And whether we choose to acknowledge them or not, they are leading us to something inevitable. Stay with me, because what I am about to reveal might change everything you thought you knew. Examples of signs in the Bible, warnings before judgment. Throughout history, God has given humanity warnings, clear, undeniable signs before major events took place. But time and time again, people have ignored them. The Bible is filled with stories of those who turned a blind eye to the signs, and paid the price. Take the story of Belshazzar, the king of Babylon. One night, during a great feast, a mysterious hand appeared and wrote on the wall. A divine message, a warning that his kingdom was about to fall. But instead of repenting, he laughed, surrounded by wealth and luxury. That very night, his kingdom was taken from him. Or consider the Pharisees in Jesus' time. They were religious leaders, men who claimed to understand Scripture. Yet when the Messiah stood right in front of them, performing miracles, fulfilling prophecy, they refused to believe. They had the truth right before their eyes, and they missed it. And now, in our time, are we any different? God has given us signs. Warnings. Prophetic markers of what is to come. But as in the days of Noah, many are laughing. Many refuse to believe. The days of Noah, when people laughed until it was too late. Noah's story is one of the most powerful warnings in history. Imagine this, a man stands before the people, warning them of an impending disaster. He tells them that a great flood is coming, that everything they know is about to be wiped away. But instead of listening, they laugh. They mock him. They continue with their lives as if nothing could ever change. Day after day, Noah builds the ark. People walk by, pointing, whispering, shaking their heads. They call him a fool. But then, the first drop of rain falls. And in that moment, they realize, he was right. By the time the floodwaters rise, it is too late. The door of the ark is shut. There is no escape. The Bible tells us that the days before Jesus' return will be just like the days of Noah. People will be eating, drinking, marrying, carrying on with life as usual. Ignoring the signs. Until the moment comes, and there is no turning back. Could it be that we are living in those days right now? Solar eclipses as prophetic warnings. The Bible speaks of signs in the heavens, warnings from God written in the very fabric of creation. Luke, chapter 21, verse 25, says, "There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars." And in the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 31, we read, "The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes." For thousands of years, solar eclipses have been seen as omens. Kings feared them. Ancient civilizations recorded them as moments of divine significance. And now, in our time, we have witnessed something extraordinary. In the year 2017, a solar eclipse crossed the United States from coast to coast. Exactly 7 years later, in April of 2024, another solar eclipse occurred, this time crossing a different path. And when you put these two eclipses together, they form an X over the United States. 7 years. The biblical number of completion. A divine cycle. A warning? Now, something even more extraordinary is about to happen. In March of the year 2025, yet another eclipse is coming. Scientists say it is a natural event. The media says it is nothing special. But what if they are wrong? What if these celestial events are not just random? What if they are warnings? Signs from God, written in the heavens, calling us to wake up, before it's too late? Because here's the truth, the world has been given a sign. The question is, will we pay attention? Or will we ignore it, just like the people in Noah's time? The choice is ours. Stay tuned for what this means for the future, because the next event is coming sooner than you think. Why solar eclipses hold special meaning. Since the beginning of time, humans have looked up at the sky in wonder. The sun, the moon, and the stars have been more than just celestial objects, they have been signs. Messages. Warnings. In ancient times, civilizations trembled at the sight of a solar eclipse. The sudden darkness in the middle of the day was seen as a divine omen, something beyond human control, a message from the heavens. In the Bible, God has often used the sun as a sign. In Exodus, Egypt was plunged into 3 days of total darkness, a plague sent to show Pharaoh the power of God. In the book of Joel, we are told, "The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes." And in the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 12, it is written, "And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood." For thousands of years, solar eclipses have been connected to biblical prophecy. But here's the question, are they still signs today? Is it possible that we are witnessing the very warnings that the Bible spoke about? And if so, what comes next? The Great Eclipse of April 2024, a warning ignored? On April 8, 2024, something extraordinary happened. A total solar eclipse swept across North America, plunging parts of the United States, Canada, and Mexico into sudden darkness. Millions of people watched in awe. Scientists explained it as a natural phenomenon. The media covered it as a rare event. But few people realized something chilling. This was not just any eclipse. 7 years earlier, in August of 2017, another solar eclipse took place. It crossed the United States from the northwest to the southeast. The eclipse of 2024? It crossed in the opposite direction, forming an X over America. An X in the sky. Over a single nation. Is this just a coincidence? Or could it be something more? Because 7 years separate these two eclipses. And in the Bible, 7 is a number of divine completion. A number tied to prophecy. A number tied to judgment. So here's the real question, if this was a warning, did we listen? Or, like the people in Noah's time, did we simply look up, marvel for a moment, and then move on? If you think this is just a coincidence, wait until you hear what's coming next. The eclipse of March 2025, warning or coincidence? Another total solar eclipse is coming. On March 29, 2025, the world will witness yet another celestial event, another moment when the sun will be darkened. This eclipse won't just be another random event. It happens at a time when global instability is at an all-time high. Wars and conflicts are rising. Natural disasters are increasing. The world is shifting in ways we have never seen before. And yet, most people will brush this off as just another eclipse. Just another natural event. Just another day. But what if it's not? What if this is part of a pattern, a message from above? Because every time people ignore the signs, the warnings get louder. And this time, the world may not be able to ignore what comes next. The drying of the Euphrates River, a biblical prophecy unfolding for thousands of years, the Euphrates River has been a symbol of power, prosperity, and life. It is one of the oldest and most significant rivers in human history, mentioned multiple times in the Bible. But what if I told you that right now, before our very eyes, this mighty river is drying up? This is not a theory. This is not speculation. This is happening. Satellite images show massive stretches of dry, cracked land where flowing water once stood. Farmers and communities that depended on the river are witnessing something they never thought possible: the Euphrates is disappearing. And here's the chilling part: the Bible predicted this over 2,000 years ago. In the book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 12, we find this prophecy: the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. The Bible tells us that when the Euphrates dries up, it will signal the approach of the final battle, the Battle of Armageddon. For centuries, people read this prophecy and wondered, how could such a great river dry up? Now, we have the answer. And the fact that it is happening in our time should send chills down your spine. Because this is not just a historical shift. This is a warning. A sign that we are closer than ever to the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. The Third Temple in Jerusalem, a critical prophetic event for nearly 2,000 years, there has been no Jewish temple in Jerusalem. The first temple, built by King Solomon, was destroyed by the Babylonians. The second temple, rebuilt after the exile, was destroyed by the Romans in the year 70. And ever since, the world has been waiting. Why? Because according to the Bible, a third temple must be built before the end of days. In 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 4, Paul warns that before the return of Christ, the Antichrist will enter the temple and declare himself to be God. For this to happen, there must be a temple. And right now, in our time, something extraordinary is unfolding. The Temple Institute in Jerusalem has already prepared the sacred vessels. The altar has been reconstructed. The priests are being trained. And in 2023, a perfect red heifer, a necessary requirement for temple purification, was found and brought to Israel. This is not a future prophecy. This is happening right now. And yet, the world is distracted. We are watching history repeat itself. Just like in Noah's time, the signs are here. And most people are completely blind to them. The rise of disasters, wars, and global chaos. If you feel like the world is falling apart, you're not imagining things. Something is happening. And the Bible told us exactly what to expect. In Matthew, chapter 24, verses 6 through 8, Jesus said, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains." Now, take a look at the world around you. Wars and conflicts are increasing, tensions between nations are at an all-time high. Natural disasters are intensifying, record-breaking earthquakes, wildfires, and floods are occurring with greater frequency. The global economy is on the brink of collapse, governments are struggling, inflation is skyrocketing, and debt is out of control. Famine is spreading, food shortages and supply chain failures are creating a crisis unlike anything we've seen before. Everything Jesus spoke of is happening right now. And yet, most people are still asleep. They tell themselves, things have always been this way. There have always been wars. There have always been disasters. But here's the problem. Jesus didn't say these things would happen randomly. He said they would increase in intensity, like birth pains, closer together, stronger each time, leading to something inevitable. And that is exactly what we are witnessing. The hidden threat, why people ignore the signs. Why is it that even when the truth is right in front of us, most people refuse to believe? The Bible gives us the answer. In 2 Peter, chapter 3, verses 3 through 4, it is written, "In the last days, scoffers will come, mocking the truth and following their own desires. They will say, 'Where is this coming he promised?' Ever since our ancestors died, everything goes on as it has since the beginning of creation." People don't want to believe the world is changing. They don't want to face the reality that something far bigger than themselves is happening. So instead, they dismiss the signs. They ignore the warnings. They tell themselves it's all just a coincidence. But history has shown us that ignoring the signs doesn't stop them from being real. The people in Noah's time ignored the warnings, until the floodwaters came. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah laughed, until fire rained down from the sky. The people of Egypt refused to believe, until the plagues consumed their land. And now, in our time, the signs are appearing again. The question is, will you see them? Or will you wait, until it's too late? Stay tuned, because what comes next will leave no doubt. Why the media and science don't explain this? If the signs are so obvious, if prophecy is unfolding right before our eyes, why isn't the world talking about it? Why aren't scientists, historians, and world leaders acknowledging what is happening? Why does the media treat these events as nothing more than random occurrences? The answer is simple: they don't want you to know the truth. Imagine for a moment that the world suddenly realized we are on the brink of something biblical. What would happen? Panic would erupt. The economy would collapse. People would demand answers that governments and scientists don't have. And so, instead of acknowledging the signs, they do what they've always done. They dismiss them. They explain them away with science. They tell you, oh, the Euphrates is drying up because of climate change. Wars have always existed. This is just another conflict. Solar eclipses? Just normal astronomy. Nothing to see here. But ask yourself this: what if they're wrong? What if the very things they call normal are actually extraordinary? What if they are desperately trying to control the narrative, because they know that if people wake up, everything will change? Who doesn't want you to know the truth? There is a hidden battle happening right now, not one fought with weapons, but one fought with information. There are forces in this world that do not want you to see the truth. Governments, institutions, the media, even some religious leaders. Because if people truly understood what was happening, it would shift the balance of power forever. Jesus warned us about this in Matthew chapter 24, verse 4, "Watch out that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, claiming, 'I am the Messiah,' and will deceive many." The greatest deception isn't a lie, it's making people believe the truth doesn't matter. And today, people are being told exactly that. They are being told, live your life. Don't worry. Everything is fine. They are being lulled into spiritual sleep, even as the world around them is falling apart. But you're still here. And that means you still have a chance to wake up. The psychological reason people ignore prophecy: the truth is, most people don't want to know what's coming. It's not because they're blind. It's because fear is a powerful thing. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance. When something is too terrifying to accept, people mentally reject it. They convince themselves, this isn't real. Everything will go back to normal. People have always said the world is ending, and nothing happened. But here's the problem: every prophecy has its appointed time. And just because something didn't happen in the past, doesn't mean it won't happen now. It is far easier for people to pretend everything is fine than to face the reality that something far greater than themselves is unfolding. And that's why, when the warnings come, most will ignore them. Most will laugh. Most will refuse to believe. Until the moment comes. And it's too late. You are not here by accident. If you've made it this far, it means something inside you is stirring. A feeling that something isn't right. A sense that the world is changing in ways that cannot be ignored. So the question is, what will you do about it? You can choose to dismiss this. You can choose to go back to life as usual, believing this is just another random moment in history. Or you can choose to wake up. You can choose to see the signs for what they are. Because here's the truth: the Bible tells us that when Jesus returns, many will not be ready. Matthew, chapter 24, verse 42, warns us, "Therefore keep watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord will come." This is your moment. Your chance to prepare. Because whether you believe it or not, the signs are here. And time is running out. What to do next now that you see the signs? The question is, what comes next? What can you do when the world is spiraling towards something inevitable? The answer isn't panic. The answer isn't fear. The answer is preparation. Not the kind of preparation that the world tells you to focus on. Not just stockpiling food, securing finances, or building bunkers. Because while physical preparation has its place, there is something far more important. Spiritual preparation. Because when the time comes, your money will mean nothing. Your possessions will not save you. And all that will matter is where you stand with God. The importance of spiritual preparation: the Bible makes it clear, the end is not just about destruction. It's about separation, between those who are ready, and those who are not. Between those who heard the warnings, and those who ignored them. In Matthew, chapter 25, verses 1 through 13, Jesus gives us the parable of the 10 virgins. 10 women waiting for the arrival of the bridegroom. 5 were wise, they kept their lamps filled with oil, ready for his return. 5 were foolish, they let their lamps run dry, assuming there would be more time. And when the moment finally came, the foolish ones were left outside in the darkness. This is the reality of what is coming. There will be those who see the signs, prepare their hearts, and remain faithful. And there will be those who say, "I'll worry about that later." But later will be too late. So what can you do right now? Turn back to God. If you've been distant, if you've lost focus, this is the time to return. Repent and seek forgiveness. The door of grace is still open, but it won't be forever. Strengthen your faith, read the Word. Pray. Grow in understanding. Share the truth. If you see the signs, help others see them too. Because soon, there will come a moment when the warnings will stop. And when that happens, the only thing that will matter is whether you were ready. Final warning: throughout history, there has always been a moment before the storm. A calm before the chaos. A final opportunity before everything changes. We are in that moment right now. The warnings have been given. The signs are here. The door is still open, but not for much longer. Just like in the days of Noah, the rain had not yet begun to fall. The ark was still open. People still had a choice. Until the moment came when it was too late. That moment is coming again. And when it does, where will you be? Will you be inside the ark, safe and prepared? Or will you be outside, realizing, too late, that you ignored the truth? Because the reality is this: Jesus is coming. Nothing can stop what has been set in motion. And the time to prepare is right now. So what will you choose? Because the choice is yours. Stay vigilant. Stay awake. And above all, be ready. Don't miss what's coming next. You've seen the signs. You know the truth. But this is just the beginning. There's more you need to know. More that's about to be revealed. And when the next warning comes, will you be ready? Make sure you subscribe to the channel right now, so you don't miss the next message. Turn on notifications, because when the next sign appears, you'll want to be the first to know. Leave a comment below, tell us what you think, share your thoughts, and join the conversation. Spread the word, send this video to someone who needs to hear it before it's too late. Time is short. The truth is unfolding. And the ones who stay aware, will be the ones who are prepared. Stay strong. Stay watchful. And we'll see you in the next video.